What's up, guys? I just want to get in here and get a little video out. Hopefully this will get out today before the markets open, at least, just to show a couple things that I will be watching. I'll be scrolling around between a few different things. So I made a few posts on the Trading View. I was talking about Bitcoin, this beautiful pump we got, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, SPY, Airbnb, Dogecoin, SHIB, Lucid, DraftKings, American Airlines. These are the few things that I just most recently posted about. I'm going to go over the American Airlines chart for right now because this looks pretty good. But we just got to see how this pans out. So if we look at American Airlines on a daily time frame, we can see that it's been in a very large downtrend. If we draw a line from this wick to this wick, this is going to start us off with what is American Airline doing. So did I say weekly? This is the daily. I don't remember. And then it's going to show us our support. This looks to me like a very large falling wedge. We're about 3/4 of the way through, which usually is when you would see a potential breakout. But it doesn't have to happen. So when American Airlines initially ran up here, since it's dropped up in this area here, which obviously it's been on a very large downtrend, according to this chart, we saw this beautiful double bottom. You could almost draw this in as a rise. If you don't want to get too confusing, if you start drawing too many damn trend lines. But if we drew a trend like this, you could almost see that this was a little trend support. We ripped away from it. We came down. We bounced off it a little bit, and we tried to hold it as support. We broke it pretty hard, came back, broke back in, couldn't reclaim it as support, came down, retested as resistance, and then we fell. So that's just something that I like to just kind of look at, because this could give us a good target of like, hey, where is American Airlines going? And if we just zoomed in on this daily, we can see that we have a beautiful bullish pennant forming right at the resistance of this downtrending resistance. So this is going to be a big moment for American Airlines to choose which direction it wants to go. And if we took a targeted move of the bull pennant, it pretty much brings us up to about $22. Target is $22.42. That does kind of coincide with that trend line support, if that's something that we want to keep in mind. But if it does break out of a falling wedge, at the same time, the target of a falling wedge is the top of the wedge, which brings you up to $26. This will be something to consider. Now, we are at the top of the trend right now, potentially, and we kind of have to expect the same thing's going to happen that happens every time we touch this trend line. You reject, you go to the bottom. Will this time be the time to break out as we're getting tighter in this pattern? It's very possible. And with this pattern, it does look pretty bullish. Now, if we zoom in on the pattern just to get a little... Oh, one last thing before I get in the pattern. I have a yellow line at 1683. This was pretty much an area that when AAL broke above, it did catch resistance up here at 1860. That'll be something also to maybe keep on your chart. Or even just like from the candle body close, which would be 1767, but that might help us in a second. Let's just remember that. We'll just call it 1770. We have double wicks up here at 1860. One from over here. Actually, triple wick. One from here, one from here. These are going to be monster resistances. So that's 1860. That's huge. Put that on your chart if you like this, trading this. So anyway, couldn't hold support. Fell down. Bounced off of 1479. Double bottom, lower, higher low. Then we made a nice rip up. And then we flagged on top of 1683, found support, and then we ripped up and we started going up until we found resistance up at the 26, and we had a double top at the lower high around 24.50. We came down, we tried again to get to that same level of $26, but that was now potentially a triple top, and that dropped us in our trend. We found a lot of support right here at 1888 at that point, right? This was chopped between 1888 2230. Then we finally lost that 1888 support. We double bottomed. We came back up, and then we pretty much rejected at that area again. Now, of course, we went higher, but the key point for me would be, where did the candle body close? We always go over this on this channel. From the bottoms, you find the support where the candle bodies close. You double check it. Did the same thing happen over here? Like, you can adjust it once you find that initial and make it so that it makes more sense. You know, you just kind of like take a look. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on an AL because it's not that clean of a chart right there. It's a lot of chop. So anyway, let's just say rejected, and then came back up to back test it as resistance. Couldn't close above, rejected, fell to the bottom. Try it again. Beautiful rip back to 21, rejected, fell all the way back down to the bottom. Found resistance 1564, found support 1162, found resistance 1554, 64. Maybe even this is actually almost like looked like a lower high, and that's probably confusing people, but actually it probably turned out to be somewhat of an inverse head and shoulders. It kind of looks like a little bit, or like a fucking bat. Looks like a bat wing or something, right? Like left shoulder, but head, right shoulder, neckline, rip. So now we've broken out from the inverse head and shoulders, and the neckline stands right around, 1440 to 1480. That's kind of what we're going to be watching. So there's a few levels, and normally I would mark out these levels as I find them. 1860, that was a huge level. This might be something I want to actually put here to remind myself where AAL could potentially head to if we do break this pattern. We're not out of the woods kind of deal. But anyway, so this pattern here, let's check the 4 hour, give us maybe a little tighter range of idea. So in this pattern, we're getting resistance actually at this upper trend line, but the white smaller trend line is the downtrending resistance. So I'll be watching both of these lines. If we see some like consolidation happening on this point here, then maybe I would get rid of that upper line. But for now, what we can clearly see is these candle bodies right here at 1706. And if you want to make it even easier for yourself, put it to this candle body that we had a monster wick, the body closed below still. That's roughly 1716. So now we have our key breakout levels. We have support. If we came straight down today, support is 1635. And if we went straight up today, that would be like first thing, well, the first 4 hours of the day, straight up today, 1722. If this pattern is going to play out to the upside, whether we confirm on top of here and then get the breakout, that's what I'm kind of thinking. But if we look down on an hourly right now and see what we're doing, we have some potential of an uptrending support here with this one wick that came below. So that'll be something we have to be cautious of, because if we do this off of that wick, then this could end up turning into a double top right here short term. We come back down, we find support on 1655, and then we take off to retest this. Otherwise, look at the supports of 1658 and 1630s or whatever. 1630, yeah, 1631, 32. That's the lower support of the larger pennant. If we can start to close some candle bodies somewhere above this, I have 1683, maybe off of a 5-minute idea. Let's go to the 5-minute. Yeah, is that the 5-minute idea? So if we can look at the 5-minute and see what price action has been doing, we come up to 1685. We try to close candles on 1683, and then we fail. We come all the way back down to 1659, 1661, so right in that range. Then we come back up, and we try to get above. We hit 1685, and we can't close candle bodies above 1683. So do we have to come all the way back down again to the 1661 or find support on 1659 and then start to rally? That's what I'd be looking potentially for. If the market starts booming this morning, then we got to find candle bodies start to close up here. We build a watch in the 5-minute, just like what happened here. Watch the candle. It starts popping up. Oh, maybe it's going to finally close. Nope, close below. Or hey, it's starting to close above. Oh, it's starting to close above. Now let's see if it holds for a couple 5-minute candles. Starts to close. If that happens, then you're going to get candle bodies that push to a next level, right? Say this starts closing above like this. You get little wicks. Then you can say, all right, we're holding above. Let me put my resistance across the candle bodies of the next ones. And then wait for your close above this one. Once you get your close above that one, a couple closes above that one, that could be the time to go, all right, I've waited long enough, I'm ready to go. You can wait even longer. You can keep doing that consecutively and just making sure that, hey, this thing is still breaking higher. It's still confirming each previous candle body close on the 5-minute. And then you can be like, finally be like, all right, I trust this enough now that I'm ready to like put some money in on this. Because you are in the middle of this pattern. And then that's when you go, all right, where am I taking this to? So then you'd probably take it up here, and then you're going to have to watch the 1716 and then the trend line supports and resistances. Overall, I think if we broke above like 1736 and started confirming, that would be pretty good. And then we can run it up to 1860s. That would be our next level we have to be cautious of and be ready for a potential rejection. And if we can break and close above that, then that would be probably the way to say, like, this thing's going up to $23, so $22, $23. So that was a long video on just AAL. So I'm probably just going to leave it at that, and we can go over some other stuff in another video. I hope you guys appreciate this. And then obviously if this thing, let's say this is just let's lastly just say it's just a symmetrical triangle. It's not a bull pennant. Where would the target be? Because I like to do both, because going like for the larger breakout and then not talking about the smaller potential breakout could screw people if they're like thinking, oh, this is going all the way to 26. 1934 is the target of a symmetrical triangle to the upside, and a symmetrical triangle to the downside is roughly 1461 to 1479. So right in that same support zone. If we do fall back here and we have to potentially retest this as support before we move further up. So if the market decides to roll over here, then this would be the place to potentially be looking for new support to back up and then rip back up. So hopefully this all helps. These are going to be the things I'll be watching today and see if airlines do decide to get a pump today at all, or if they just end up being boring. I probably won't be trying to find a scalp entry in this area because I'm not like super into AL unless it starts to get like real good momentum. I'd rather play like a breakout of this and then run it up here, so on and so forth. So I'll just be kind of watching it, but it is a very nice daily pattern, and it's probably not something to be ignored. But it really depends on how we end up. And if you look at the moving averages on the daily, I mean, it still looks pretty good on the daily. And then the weekly, we are actually testing the 100 EMA on the weekly, which is at 1754. So this is also going to be a big thing. Now, you have the 21 squeezing up through the 50. So this could give us enough momentum to at least push up and retest this 200 EMA, which is roughly around that 1907 target. So that would be something to think about right here, is look at how perfectly this target is, almost right to the 200 EMA, 1926. So if we are going to get this break to the upside, maybe this thing can push through the 100 and retest the 200. But that's the things you got to pay attention to. And the 200 has been holding us down for quite some time since we broke it over here May 18th, 2018, sorry. April 2018, May 2018, June, somewhere in there. We back tested it as resistance and we fell. And we've never gotten above it again. And now the moving averages are starting to squeeze. So this has been consolidating for quite some time since the drop of 2018. It's like 4 years of downtrend. So this thing is due for a monster move, and maybe this is finally gearing up for that move, and I want to get you guys in on this so you can pay attention. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like this idea, Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen with the market? Doesn't have to be just today, but over the coming weeks and months. Are we going to break out finally on SPY? These are things that I'm watching. Hopefully you're watching them too. And have a good trading day. Peace.